Understanding Hair Growth, a practical guide. At the end of this tutorial, you will learn what is hair structure, hair growth cycle, types of hair, factors that affect hair growth, and hair growing tips. What is hair? Hair can be defined as a covering for the body or parts of it, consisting of a dense growth of thread-like structures as on the human head. Hair structure. A hair grows from the papilla and with the exception of the point of germination is made up of dead cornified cells. It consists of a shaft that projects above the skin and a root that is embedded in the skin. Hairs are elongated keratinized structures. Keratin is a special protein which is resistant to wear and tear. It is a protein that also makes up the nails. Like other proteins in the body, keratin is also a large molecule made up of smaller units called amino acids. The amino acids are joined together in a chain like beads on a string. The diameter of a single hair fiber varies from person to person, but it is usually around 0.5 to 0.9 millimeters. The epidermis is an outermost layer of the skin. Each hair arises from an indentation on the epidermis. Before we start explaining the hair growth cycle, let's take a look at the diagram below for a brief overview of the parts of the hair. The sebaceous gland. The sebaceous gland produces sebum, a kind of oily structure that is responsible for protecting your hair from becoming dry, brittle, and cracked. It also inhibits growth of microorganisms on the skin. However, the glands can overproduce sebum that can cause oily scalp. This is usually caused by factors like stress and hormone DHT. This is a hormone related to hair loss. This will be discussed in a separate video. The germinating layer. Cells progress through the skin from initial growth in the germinating layer. New cell growth in the germinating layer pushes dead cells outwards towards the surface of the skin, hence hair growth. Outer root sheath. The outer root sheath, also known as ORS, is coated over the IRS from the lower end of the hair bulb in the entrance of the sebaceous gland duct. It connects the hair follicle seamlessly to the skin. The inner root sheath. The inner root sheath, also known as IRS, does not contain any pigment. It is comprised of three parts: the Henle layer, the Huxley layer, the cuticle layer. The cuticle is the innermost part that touches the hair shaft. The inner sheath follows the hair shaft and ends below the opening of the sebaceous gland, and sometimes the apocrine gland. The germinal matrix. The germinal matrix area is where mitosis, which is cell division, takes place and produces the keratin, which forms the three layers of the hair. Papilla. The hair papilla is a knob-like indentation of the bottom of the hair follicle on which the hair bulb fits like a cap and contains vascular loops of the nourishments of the hair root. Capillary. The capillary is small blood vessels that carry blood to the papilla of the hair. Erector pili muscle. The erector pili muscle is attached to your hair follicle. This soft muscle is responsible for making your hair strands stand up when you have goosebumps. The hair shaft. The part of the hair seen above the skin is called the hair shaft. The hair shaft is made up of dead cells that have turned into keratin and binding material together with small amounts of water. The hair shaft is formed by 3 layers. The innermost layer of the hair shaft is named the medulla. It is seen only in large and thick hairs. The middle layer of the hair shaft is called the cortex, made of keratin fibers. The strength, color, and texture of a hair fiber is provided by the cortex layer of the hair shaft. The outermost layer of the hair shaft is called the cuticle. This thin and colorless layer, made up of between 6 to 10 overlapping layers of long cells remnant, serves as a protection to the cortex. The hair bulb. The hair bulb is that portion of the follicle hair growth cycle. The speed of hair growth is roughly 1.25 centimeters or 0.5 inches per month, being about 50 centimeters or 1.5 centimeters or 6 inches per year. With age, the speed of hair growth might slow down to as little as 0.25 centimeters or 0.1 inch a month. There are basically 3 cycles that each hair follicle has to go through around 20 times in your life. These 3 phases are the Anagen phase, the Catagen phase, and the Telogen phase. The Anagen phase. This is the first phase of your hair growth cycle, which is also known as the growing phase. At any one time, 80 to 90% of your hair follicles on your scalp are in the Anagen phase. During this period, your hair grows continuously. The growing will continue for 3 to 6 years. It grows at a rate of half an inch a month. Blood supply provides nutrients and minerals to your hair, and your hair looks thick and nourished. Catagen phase. After the Anagen phase, your hair will turn into a transitional phase before going to rest. This short phase is known as the Catagen phase, which lasts for about 2 to 4 weeks. During this time, your hair detaches from the blood supply. The detached follicle will slowly shrink to about a sixth its size. The bulb will be pushed upwards towards the surface when the new hair is formed, and approximately 2 to 3% of your hair will be in this phase in your scalp. The telogen phase. This is the final phase of your hair growth cycle. It is also known as the resting phase, where your hair follicle will slowly fall off and be replaced by new hair. Around 10 to 15% of the hair in your scalp will be in the telogen phase. 50 to 100 hairs from this phase will shed daily. This period lasts for 3 months before the hair falls out. The hair follicles become weak and thin, and you can easily pull them out. New hair follicle will emerge once the hair falls out.